We're back today with BAPD On Air, Episode 5. My name is Ethan Hutchins, the Public Information Coordinator for Broken Arrow Police, here with some very special friends, Paul Gerner and Kurt Klein. Thank you guys for joining us today and participating in this discussion about a very cool event, a long-standing community outreach event called Camp Bandage. So I want to first start and have you both introduce yourselves. Just talk about your background and what involvement you have with this event. We'll start with you, Paul.
My name is Paul Gerner. My parents were the ones that founded Camp Bandage back in 1983. And ever since 1983, I have been part of it. And it is an outstanding program for kids of all ages. And we're going to get into that a little bit later on here. But a very awesome community outreach program for kids of all ages.
That's awesome. A lot to talk about.
Yes.
Kurt?
I'm Kurt Klein, and I've been the director of Camp Bandage since 2009, and it's just been a great pleasure, to be able to put this on and to work with Paul and everybody that's involved with it.
So Camp Bandage is, let's make sure we let folks know, it is coming up here pretty soon on Saturday, May 3rd from noon till 4.
Yes, sir.
At Central Park on Main. It's normally at Events Park, but as we know, there's some construction, so it's been moved to Central Park. So what is Camp Bandage? Let's just talk about that, Paul. You know, again, you've got a personal connection to this. Describe the event.
Camp Bandage is a program put on for kids of all ages. The children will start at infancy all the way up to 93 years old. So kids of all ages, they come out. This is a completely free program for everybody. They will not have to bring their wallets with them. But it teaches children safety, what to do in case of an accident, and it gives them awareness to make sure that, you know, we have summer coming up, and we've got a bunch of kids that are off for school and things like that. Mm-hmm. And a lot of typically you'll see that your injuries and things happen during the summer months when they're free running around and having a great time. And this is done in a way that the children, that takes their anxiety away, okay? And it'll help them when they're out there and what am I going to do? I just cut myself, you know. And hopefully muscle memory will kick in and they'll be able to take care of themselves and get to mom and dad and all that other. But it is something that it resonates with the founders, how mom and dad were both medical professionals, and they passed away early on in life. And by coming up, and Kurt told you earlier that he's been the director since 2009, 2003 is when Dad died. And Kurt came to me a few months later and said, you know what? It's important that we keep this Camp Bandage going on. And that's when he became the director of Camp Bandage. And in doing that, Kurt brought in so much new information and things, and we stay up with the times and the techniques so that the kids have the most. When Camp Bandage started, everybody only had a landline. Nobody had a mobile phone. Okay, so everybody had to run inside and dial 911. Well, then mobile phones came about. And when those phones came about, it was not just 911, it was 911 send. And so throughout the years, we've had to modify our ways of thinking when we're teaching the children. But since Kurt took over as the director in 2003, Camp Bandage has quadrupled in size as far as what we call the vendors, who are the people who show all their wares and their toys to the kids, as far as, when I say toys, or their equipment. Mm-hmm. And they get out there and they show all that, and they're proud to do it. They volunteer their time, and their donations keep Camp Bandage alive for all these years. All the money goes back to the kids. So when the kids come out, they're going to get free hot dogs. They're going to get a free bicycle helmet. They're going to get water, ice cream, snow cones. And the whole time they're learning all the different aspects of safety. And it's put in a family fun situation there.
Kurt, how difficult is this event to organize every year? Because it draws in thousands of people, and there's, like you mentioned, a lot of vendors that set up to reach out to the kids. How tough is this?
Well, it takes a long time. I actually work on it. I start January 2nd and work on it just about every day. But we have done it, or I have done it for so many years. It's kind of routine or habit. Thankfully, we have email, and so that's how I contact most people. And it's okay. Now, setting up and tearing down will be a physical labor, and that's pretty tough. But we seem to always get it done. We always seem to have enough people show up to help us. So,
I don't know if I ever have heard this story. So, what was the personal reason that you reached out to Paul and his family to pick up the event?
I was just driving back from lunch one day, and I had never been to Camp Bandage before this, but I knew about it. And the church I was working at, I just thought, hey, this might be a great place to restart it. You know, we had a big campus, and so I went to Paul and asked him what, you know, I didn't know what the situation really was, and he said, oh yeah, let's do it. So I tell the story all the time. We restarted it. The first year we restarted, we only had 8 exhibits.
Wow.
And this year we're right at 97 exhibits. So it has grown. Thankfully, a lot of our exhibitors are repeat. I mean, years. I always see the Broken Arrow Police Department and Fire Department, but there's others that have probably been to 40, 50 Camp Bandages over the years. So anyway, the labor of love.
Yeah, and it's cool to see. I've gone to it the last 4 years as a part of BAPD, and for those who haven't been out, it's awesome because you have not just the vendors and the swag and those conversations with law enforcement and first responders, but there's a mock crash at the end of the day, along with music and other activities. And the mock crash is so cool because it involves life flight. And talk about that. I mean, that's a cool operation in itself.
Well, it's very, I don't know the word, when life flight flies in and lands within 50 feet from the wreck, and you have all these people there, and they feel the power and strength of that helicopter, and then watches them take off. It's very exciting. The kids, I even love it. I mean, I'm just saying the kids, but
you're a big kid.
Yeah.
That's right.
But it does show you, first of all, how many personnel it takes to do a wreck, and how they each have a job at this situation. The police department has their job, the fire department, and then Life Flight has their job, and we've had years. A few years ago, 15 minutes before we were going to do the wreck, Life Flight got a flight. They had to go on a real call, and you know, we just improvised, and it worked out. So
this year it's at Central Park.
Yes, sir.
Anything different about this year that, you know, obviously the venue has changed. Logistically, can you kind of talk about where things are going to be at and maybe anything that folks need to know who are showing up this year?
Well, one thing, you know, we kind of classify our exhibit as inside and outside. You know, the outside people are the police cars, fire trucks, blah, blah, blah. And so this year, the inside people will be in an air-conditioned building. And I think they're going to be excited about that. And then part of the logistics problem is we think we know where everybody needs to be placed outside, but until you start setting it up, and that's not going to work, you know. So there's going to be a little of that on Saturday. Whereas the event park, we knew where everything went. We'd done it so many times there. But we have confidence that we can get it done, and everybody will work together with us. So.
Mm-hmm. And so is there a certain area that people should should enter the event this year?
We're going to have parking back behind the pool and the tennis courts. That's where our parking's going to be, and we'll also use the pool parking lot. And then from there, they'll enter in by foot on Ash, okay, which is right across the street from the parking. Any handicap parking spots, we're going to be placing them on the front row just east of the community center there. And they'll have that front row up there for all handicap. So it's open to anybody and everybody. And for those that need help, if they pull up to the gate and say, hey, I need help, and there's no handicap parking spots, we'll send a vehicle out to get them and bring them in so that, if they have to park in the public parking. So we'll send a vehicle. We have golf carts and things like that we can do the transports over if we need to. We want everybody to be able to enjoy it, and nobody will be let down.
Can you talk about, Paul, the importance of this event? Just the impact that it has with these kids, and maybe they're seeing this stuff and then they really do get into a career in law enforcement years down the road. I mean, talk about the importance of this event.
Well, and as you mentioned, law enforcement, and there is a fire department. There are so many different exhibitors that come out, things that you wouldn't think about. As far as wildlife, game ranger, we have pool supply companies. We have different, I can't mention them all. There's 97 of them, but they're all different, okay? And for children that are in their teenagers or teenagers thinking that, what are we going to do in the future and with our lives and things, this will probably spark something with them, okay? Broken Arrow Police Department does an absolute outstanding job for our community. And they will bring out every one of the departments. Dispatchers will be there, allowing children to pick up a phone and actually dial 911. And they're going to receive a live dispatcher on the other side. Twofold, okay? One, how do you do it? And two, you don't do this as a prank, so they get to learn everything about and the aspects of that. Mm-hmm. One thing that I have found interesting, I believe in the past 5 years, 6 years, I have people that come up to me and say, as a kid, my mom and dad took me to Camp Bandage. And as a parent, I have brought my children to Camp Bandage. And as a grandparent, they're bringing their children and their grandchildren to Camp Bandage. That is an awesome, awesome testimony for Camp Bandage. The kids learn. We want, as first responders, nobody likes to go to an injury crash. Period. Okay? And it even gets worse when there's an infant child or there is a child in that vehicle that has been injured. If we can keep one accident from happening because we told them not to stop on the train tracks, let's do it. And that is every person that you will find out at Camp Bandage as an exhibitor has that same feeling. Nobody wants to see it. In case it does happen, let's help minimize that anxiety. Let's help those children know that this is what's going to be happening. There's going to be sirens all around them, and that's why that mock car wreck at the very end, we save it for the end because it's a big deal. All the first responders will respond just as they would normally to an accident. And some of those kids will end up with the teddy bear after their accident's over with. But their anxiety about it, their worry, their scaredness, they're still going to be scared. But hopefully we can minimize that for them a little bit.
Do you think that your mom and dad would be so happy with the way this thing has turned out?
Yes. That's so minimal. Okay. This man to my right here, and his family, and what they've done, the entire board of Camp Bandage, we all have the same thoughts, and how to keep these kids safe. That was my mother and father. And Ethan, you don't need to bring that out, but it is it's very emotional for me today. And my parents have been gone for decades. But just seeing them and seeing how they worked it, it started out, we had a family of 10. It started out with the 10 of us as the people who were, and it was awesome. But like Kurt said earlier, there are exhibitors that have been there all 42 years. Broken Arrow Police Department, Broken Arrow Fire Department. We live in an awesome community. Mm-hmm. And this program is helped greatly by the great city of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. And it's not just open to Broken Arrow. It's open to everybody, surrounding communities and everything. So
I think it's a testament to your legacy, your family's legacy, and obviously Kurt and your involvement. So it's obviously something that our whole community benefits from, and it couldn't happen without the two of you guys. So I want to thank you both for your commitment to continuing to put this on every year.
Well, I would like to say we do have a lot of help. We have a very large committee that meets with us that have been on hand for years, and we have a very large group of volunteers, which it takes a lot of volunteers to put this on. So it's not just me and him. So.
There's hundreds of people and hundreds of volunteers
Yes.
that come out, and it's a program. If you've never been there, I challenge you to come out. And if you have been there, come on out again, because there's new stuff coming on every day and new diseases as far as COVID. How did we, make it through COVID and stuff? So that is, and hopefully the motto of Camp Bandage is what you learn could save a life. And that started when Camp Bandage started. And it's so true. It really is.
Well, I just love this event. I love our involvement every year, and I love you guys. So,
we love you too. Thank you.
Well, again, for those who are listening to this and will watch the video, you can go to Broken Arrow. You can also go to brokenarrowok.gov to learn about the event. But campbandage.org has all the information along with your Facebook page. And so, for those who want to learn about the itinerary, what time things are happening, when the mock crash is, they can go to that, correct?
Yes. We'll have that posted shortly. And anyway, hopefully everybody comes out and have a great time. Hopefully the weather's good.
That is always the kicker.
Yes, it is rain or shine.
Yes.
Okay, and it's very nice because this year they will not be underneath the tent if it's raining. We do have the entire gyms over at Central Park. So Community Center will be open for us for our event here.
Very good. Did I miss anything? Is there anything else we want to mention that we haven't yet?
I don't have anything.
I think we're good. Okay, just remember, come out May 3rd, Saturday, from 12 to 4.
At Central Park.
At Central Park. Okay, thank you very much. And there will be plenty of food, so don't stop off and have lunch yet.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Ethan.
Really appreciate that. And again, as we always wrap up every podcast, we ask that you stay safe and stay connected.